cannot invent and pioneer if you cannot accept failure.
We wanted people that were insanely great at what they did.
Nobody was making any money at all. Most people thought the internet was going to be a fad.
So we're going to talk about doubling your conversions with zero ad spend. That's the goal here, right? I'm a huge proponent of conversion rate optimization. So many times we are going to throw money at ads, at Google, at Facebook, but we're neglecting our website. We're neglecting the offer, because if you can crack the code on that, you can take all of that traffic you're already getting and maximize it to get even more out of it. So that's the main goal for today. But let me kind of tee this up for people that don't know. Here's a little bit of background on myself. We'll keep this tight. I have a growth marketing agency called Growth Hit. We acquired a brand last year called Neat that sells sweat-proof shirts. I wrote a book called The Growth Marketer's Playbook. The claim to fame is that for 72 glorious hours, it was ahead of Seth Godin. There's the screenshot to prove it. And then, I do some other growth mentor things at venture capital firms, startup accelerators. But more importantly, I'm a girl dad, a clueless girl dad at that. But you want to be friends? Let's connect on LinkedIn. So there we go. And one thing I want to do to give context on how I think about growth and marketing, the past 8 years, my growth agency, Growth Hit, we've really focused on a couple core things. One is taking your existing website and squeezing more out of it to maximize your conversion rate, to maximize your average order value. So simply put, design websites that convert. In addition to that, we drive traffic that ideally allows you to grow in a profitable way. That's usually coming from Meta and Instagram or Google. And so we're super proud. Over the past few years, we've generated $250 million in sales running growth for companies. This does not mean everything we do works. We're always testing, we're always learning, always trying to get better. But as we've learned things, we're trying to share that with everyone. So later this year, we're launching the Growth Marketing Operating System. If anyone's familiar with EOS, the Entrepreneur Operating System, it's like that, but for marketing. So you can check that out when we launch, but candidly, we're giving a lot of that content away for free, like what we're talking about today. So one thing that I'd like to put in front of you when you're thinking about growth and hitting your Q4 goals or hitting your goals for next year, what's blocking growth right now? Where are you kind of hitting the wall, right? And so as we start to see the problems that you have with growth, one thing I like to do is try and understand how your growth problems work. I have an amazing executive coach, Rick McGuire, and he gave me this advice where he's like, hey, whenever there is a problem, instead of quickly trying to have the solution, slow down and understand how the problem works. So I want you to take that idea and apply it to growth. So one thing I have done to understand where your growth problem lies is I try and break it down. Like, do we have a positioning problem? Do people not understand what we're putting out there? Or do we have a traffic problem? Hey, maybe we just don't have enough visitors or awareness to even hit our goals. Or maybe it's conversions. It's like, man, people are interested in it. We got the traffic, but we cannot get people over the finish line. So as you try and understand what's blocking growth, I have this whole scalability assessment where you can kind of really start to see where you should focus. Where is the biggest problem right now? So we're not going to do the full scalability assessment, but what I do want to do is hit on one key part of this assessment, and that is conversion, right? So this is one big growth blocker I see with so many companies. And out of the three, conversion, this is one that usually you're more reactive than proactive on this one. So many times clients come to us and they're like, oh my gosh, conversion rate's 0.5. We're burning money on ads. What do we do? So if this is you, if you think you have this problem, I want you to first ask yourself a couple key questions. So to understand if conversion is where you should focus right now, the first question to ask yourself is, do I have a consistently strong conversion rate and by traffic source? So what do I mean when I say traffic source? It's like, hey, when we get traffic from Facebook or Google ads, it converts at 2% of what we want. Or we're getting email traffic. How does that convert? We're getting traffic from referral partners. How does that convert? Is it consistent across all of them? Or maybe it's only good with email traffic, but it's really bad with paid traffic, especially as you scale. The second thing, do you have an activation offer that converts people quickly? So let me give some more background on this. Here's where people go wrong. They come up with a cool brand, cool positioning, cool website, cool demo page, but then guess what? Crickets. No one converts. Like, oh, that's a cool idea. I'll come back later. It's because we didn't do the final mile. We didn't come up with an activation offer that creates urgency, that creates a little bit of FOMO, that gives people in their busy lives, even when they're on mobile, to buy right now. This is something that can sound nuanced, but it can be the difference between high growth companies and companies that flatline. All right, the third one, are you converting customers in an ROI positive way? So I have good news. I'm about to show you how I can guarantee you conversions. But the bad news is it might not be profitable for your business model. So I'm going to give you a spectrum of all the different ways you can convert people, but it has to work with your business model. So the question to ask yourself is, do I need to be profitable on this first conversion? How profitable do I need to be? Or could I break even on this first purchase, or even have a lost leader? Because maybe your business model that is a SaaS product, software as a service, where it's high repeat purchase, or maybe it's a subscription product, like a supplement brand. So that's something that we're going to really cover off on. Does this align with your business model? All right. So as we reflect on these three questions, are you consistently strong? Can you activate people? Is it ROI positive? If you're feeling that you're below average on these, then conversion might need to be where you focus. So yeah, I'm seeing some comments in the chat. Yeah, I definitely hear you there. Usually email is the top conversion rate, and then paid is the hardest, especially as you scale. Yeah, absolutely. Some people are talking about mobile. Mobile can be the hardest one, but can be the biggest unlock. How are people buying? Are they buying on desktop or on mobile? Okay, so now that we've kind of identified, is conversion a problem? Here's how we unblock conversions, if unblock is even a word. So the first thing is we need to understand why customers should buy. And we're going to do that by unpacking the irresistible offer formula. The second thing that we're going to do is we're going to go through an activation strategy. How aggressive do you need to be to get conversions today, to get conversions right now? So if anybody's seen my content before, I'm obsessed with frameworks. So baked into both of these are two frameworks that hopefully you can use to get more conversions. Now, I want to call out something. This is a conversation we're having about conversions. And notice how I'm not talking about user experience, user interface, custom landing pages, how they're designed. Those are all great tactics to deploy. But if we don't nail our offer, if we don't nail how we package up that offer in an activation framework, then all of that is like rearranging chairs on the Titanic. It's missing the point. If you can nail your irresistible offer and your activation strategy, that will make up for anything you might be lacking with your mobile design or your page layout on a landing page. Those are absolutely secondary to this being the primary focus. Okay, I'll get off the soapbox, but just want to kind of drive that home a little bit. Okay, so let's also talk about why people aren't buying on your website right now. So we got a little good news and bad news here. So the bad news, most people that are on this live stream right now, your 90% of your visitors are not converting, and usually it's probably like 98%. So that's tough. All that expensive traffic we're paying for, they're coming and they're leaving and they're not doing anything. But here's the good news. There are usually no more than 7 reasons why people are not buying. We know this because we've run about 4,000 experiments, and there's usually no more than 2 to 4 conversion roadblocks on your website. And those could be price. They think it's too expensive. It could be quality. It could be confusion, which, by the way, if there's at any point confusion on the website, there will be no conversion. This is like rule number 1. Don't let them be confused. 4 could be urgency. Goes back to my point. They're like, hey, this is an interesting brand, interesting product, but maybe later. It could be competition. Maybe you're losing out because they're doing comparison shopping and someone's beating you on some primary benefit. It could be your product, or it could be value. Value and price are very much aligned. So let me give an example of this. If people think your product, or if the price is too high, it's not about lowering the price. There is a disconnect in perceived value and potentially realized value. So what that means is we need to hype up the transformation they're going to get with your product or service. We need to play up the quality, play up the ingredients, play up the program that goes behind it. That way, when they see the price, they're like, oh, absolutely. I'm going to give you an example with the brand that we acquired. We actually raised prices, and we'll talk about the things we did to make sure the perceived value was high to validate the increase in price. Okay. So this is why customers don't buy. So while 90% of your traffic isn't converting, there's usually no more than 7 reasons that's blocking them. So how do we identify those? So as we identify those, there's a few different ways to do that. You can do voice of customer research. You can talk to customers. You can get Hotjar on your website. You're going to start to uncover that. And as we address them, this is where I want to give you the first formula to deploy. This is the offer formula. There's been a lot of variations of this. $100 million offer from Alex Hormozi has something similar. And the main goal is, let's give them an offer that's so good, they would be kind of stupid to turn it away. So that offer has 4 core components. The first is the dream outcome. And it's like, what's the dream outcome you want to deliver to your customers that they desire? The second thing is perceived likelihood of achievement, right? You know, how fast or how likely is it that I'm going to be able to obtain this transformation or to realize the effects of the product? So you want those to be as high as possible, hence the green arrows. Now let's look at 2 where you want to reduce them as much as possible. It's time delay to outcome or time delay to gratification. And then effort or sacrifice. How hard do I have to work to pull this off? How many button clicks is it? How many weeks? So some examples of time delay gratification. I mean, Amazon's the best example. You know, there's a reason why everyone has to look at, 2-day shipping. I mean, they're even doing same-day shipping, get shipping within 4 hours. Effort or sacrifice. There's a reason why 7-minute abs was a thing. It's like, oh, I only have to put in the effort of 7 minutes a day to get a 6-pack. Sign me up. So these are things that if I had to choose out of these 4, time is actually one of the most impactful one. We found that people will pay more to get results faster. The other kind of component to slide into this would be a guarantee. That helps with any risk reversal when you're thinking of getting conversions up and getting people across the finish line. Okay, so now that we've talked about these core components of the irresistible offer, dream outcome, likelihood of achievement, time delay, minimize effort or sacrifice, let's see this in action. I love case studies. I love examples. I think it's the best way to learn. It's the stickiest way. So I'm going to kind of go rapid fire with some examples of high growth companies that nailed their offer and it allowed them to kind of unlock that next phase of growth. So let's start with Main Street. This one is truly a masterclass in an offer. And so let's break it down. So with Main Street, you get $50,000 back from the IRS in 20 minutes. So they're doing 2 things really well with the headline. First, the desired outcome of $50,000, very high. And then the time delay to gratification to under 20 minutes. That's phenomenal. The other thing they have baked in here is, hey, we do all the paperwork, you get the cash. If we can't help you claim credits, you pay $0. So again, minimizing the effort or sacrifice, they will do all the work, and then the cost to you will be $0. So this company went on to raise a pretty massive A round of funding, all on the back of this offer. And within their hero section, in addition to having the great copy for any startup founder that's trying to get free money through grants, they also have the visuals where it's just cycling through different business owners and how much money they got in credits from this program. Okay, so that's the first one. Let's now go to Curology. So this is a D2C brand that was able to raise $40 million on the back of this offer. So what did they do? So first, they're a product that has a personalized skincare product if you're going through acne or something else, and they will personalize the formula so it's right for you. So full skincare service starts here. They have a free offer where they give you the product in the first month for free, a custom formula. And then second, they connect you with the dermatologist for free so you can text with them to get the right program for you. After 60 days, it flips, and then it's basically $60 every 2 months. And again, this offer allowed them to raise a massive round of funding. So they're removing any point of friction of having to pay money. Time delay is really strong. They're connecting with a dermatologist right after you sign up. And so this is one that if you're a D2C company, you could really look to emulate. I recommend going through their quiz funnel and onboarding. It's very impressive. Okay, let's keep going. Let's go to our B2B and let's look at their Irresistible offer. So they're very much leaning into the idea of product-led growth with their approach, with their offer. So what they do that's really impressive is they're basically like, hey, we're going to give you our product for free for 30 days. You can get all the leads you want. We're also going to connect for free to Slack. So you can see the leads that are coming in. So for context on what this product is, they basically allow you to see everyone that's coming to your website that's in the US, where you can get their email address and their LinkedIn profile. So what's amazing about this is you could have a 5% lead form sign up, but 95% of that traffic, they're able to tell you who it is if they're in the US. And their magic moment is like, let's just give people these free leads. And then after 30 days, they're definitely going to want to opt in to work with us. So very impressive offer. I think they've now hit 10 million in sales on the back of this aggressive activation offer with their product. Okay, let's go to another one. This is actually a client of ours, and I'm kind of showing the before and after with the offer we came up for them. So this is Pre-Med Experts. Here's what they had. They basically help people that are taking the MCAT a second time to boost their score. And as we started to talk to them, we started to understand, what's the dream outcome someone wants for this? Well, usually they took the MCAT. It didn't go well the first time. And like, okay, this isn't good. I'm not going to get into Princeton or wherever I want. Help. And so he knows where they're at. And what they care about is lifting the score on the second time they've taken it. So he makes the claim, hey, like we can guarantee we can lift your MCAT score by 17 points. The other thing is his offer is basically giving you a free tutoring consultation to come up with your study plan based on where you're strong or weak from your test scores. And so what he found was this activation offer worked so well that anyone he got on the call with, it wasn't even a sales call. It was essentially an onboarding call because they were so bought into the program. He was able to turn on ads. They've since had to pause ads because the demand has been so high. But this is one that's been fun to watch just by tweaking what he does and turning that into an offer that would lead to high qualified leads. All right, so this one this is the final one. This might be the most impressive one. I'm showing ConvertKit, which is now Kit. They are an email service provider similar to MailChimp. And here was their problem. You're like, oh, cool. I want to use ConvertKit. It's made for creators. So if I'm selling e-products, it's super helpful. But if anyone works in an email tool, you know how painful the migration is. To go from MailChimp or ActiveCampaign to a new tool, you've got to import the contacts, take over the flows, recreate them. It's miserable. So this company was at $2,000 in sales for 2 years because they could not get people to switch. They almost shut it down. And so they decided to make a very aggressive offer. So it's like, hey, you want to graduate from MailChimp to ConvertKit? we will do the migration for you for free. All the contacts, all the existing email flows you have, we will build those in ConvertKit. This works so well. Look at their footer. They started saying, hey, are you switching from MailChimp, Infusionsoft, Drip, Active Campaign? They'll do it for you for free. They are now at over $50 million in sales, and they attribute this irresistible offer with their ability to get people to switch and take on their product. So hopefully those are some fun examples of companies that were able to really understand what is that right irresistible offer to allow them to convert traffic they were getting to become customers or clients. So here's what I want to do next, though. You're like, okay, Jim, got it. Irresistible offer formula, play through those 4 components. Cool. That's almost very philosophical. But how do we put that into the wild, right? What are the different ways you can package up those offers? So to help you, I created this spectrum of how to activate customers that I want to go through. So this is the next level with your offer. So let me kind of zoom in on this. So remember how at the beginning I was like, hey, I can guarantee conversions for you. Let me show you what that looks like. So think of it like this is the least aggressive thing you can do to get conversions, and this is the most aggressive. You're like, all right, Jim, Growth Hit team, guarantee I can get customers. So the thing to consider with these, it's like how aggressive do you want to be, and how much money are you willing to spend to acquire a customer? So let's go through it from least aggressive to most aggressive. So some of the least aggressive things you can do is you can activate people through content, through courses, through ebooks, through quiz funnels, through humor. As we start to go down the matrix, we can create a little bit of scarcity, giving early access to products, superhuman, put a masterclass on this in the early days. The other thing is we can start giving up a little bit of money in the form of bundling, in the form of discounts, in the form of buy one, get one free, right? Very much for direct-to-consumer brands. One thing that still works, which is a little annoying, is giveaways. Ideally, having the value be over $250 is a great way to activate people to get into your CRM or to your database. As we start to go to the more aggressive options, it's giving the product away for free. Harry's did this in the early days, giving away subscription razors. Dropbox did this with free cloud storage. And if you want to be the most aggressive, we're just giving money to people, right? Guilt did this with their e-commerce experience, basically giving you $25 anytime you invited a customer that bought something. PayPal did this to create an account. They would credit your account with $20. I think they were burning around $4 million a month as they were going through this. So the question to ask yourself as you look at this kind of spectrum, what is right for your business from a profit and loss statement, and then also from a customer standpoint, what would really resonate with them? So what I want to do now is show you this in the wild as far as companies that have pulled this off. So the idea of building a free tool, also called engineering as marketing, is one that I really like. So this is an insurance company we are working with, where this is their ad landing page that shows term life insurance. So this page wasn't converting too well. And so we'll talk about some of the reasons why and what we did to kind of create that activation offer. So the first thing we learned, so this is an insurance company selling specifically to the military. What we found was people were actually confused. They're like, wait, what is term life insurance? What is universal insurance? And like I said before, if people are at all confused, it equals no conversion. So look what we did. We defined what term life insurance is. We even put a comparison table down here. Hey, do you want term life insurance or universal life insurance? So that was one. The second big objection that we uncovered after talking to customers is they thought it would be too expensive. So showing that, hey, you can get term life insurance for as low as $10 per month, and made it very approachable. Like, hey, I can afford that. But here's where we kind of took it up a notch with that activation offer. Was we were able to create a free tool where we could get instant rates for people to allow them to get pre-approved. So basically building this tool so they could put in their information, put in their email, then boom, get them that instant rate. So the exciting thing was this, I think it increased conversions by 94%, but it more than doubled the qualified leads, which is what the client cared about the most, all by creating this free tool on the website. Okay, let's go to Third Love. This is a company that is competing with Victoria's Secret, and they're very much going after the benefit of fit. Basically saying 80% of women are wearing the wrong bra size. Are you? And then they kind of engineered this quiz that at the end of it, after talking about your size, it'll recommend a custom product for you. So leaning into the fitting room, leading into this quiz, this personal piece of content, really allowed them to get market share in the early days. But here's the big tip on this. With your piece of content, quiz, or tool, make sure it's accentuating your core point of differentiation, like what makes you different from other competitors. All right, let's keep going down the spectrum. This is Buffer, social media scheduling tool. And their big activation offer in the early days was basically putting out a free course. So they're like, okay, we want social media managers to use our software product. What can we do to get in front of them? So they went early in that persona's career kind of trajectory. They're like, hey, are you new to social media? Take our 25-day email course for mastering social media marketing. And so here's why this is genius. First, it's not a course they deliver through YouTube. They deliver it through email. So you have to get into their email database. They're also training you to open their emails because there's always going to be thought leadership content. And then that way, when it's time for you to run social media, you're probably going to use Buffer because they are the perceived thought leaders after you took their course. Okay, we'll go more aggressive now. This is Girlfriend Collective. They are a kind of athleisure brand. And in the early days, they were really one of the first brands to go all in on athleisure around leggings. And so with their category, they were selling leggings at a time that were $90. I think they're like $135 now. So very expensive. And a lot of people had sticker shock. They're like, I'm not going to pay that much for essentially comfy sweatpants. And so look what they did. They decided to give the product away for free. Right under shop, they put earn free leggings. You click this pops up. And if you share this on your social feed, they would basically give you $90 leggings for free. And so you might think, man, that's a lot of money to give up to acquire a customer. But what they found was they acquired people in a more cost-effective way with this tactic as opposed to going through paid channels. But the big insight was if you put this on your feed, you have a little bit of association with the brand. So they found that their repeat purchase rate and their lifetime value was significantly higher from people they acquired with this tactic. So this is one we've even tried with a few brands that's worked quite well. Okay. The last one I want to hit on is the giveaway. So again, this is one I have a love-hate relationship with these. They still work, which kind of blows my mind. But the giveaway of what you're giving has to align with the core product. So this is Tooth and Nail. This is a winery in California, and they really want to push getting into their wine club. So the unfair advantage they have is that their winery is actually on a castle. So we're like, hey, we need to lean into this for building awareness for what you guys offer. So we did this campaign. We stood up ads. We stood up this landing page. Hey, win a trip to the castle. The exciting thing, the perceived value is super high because it's like a flight, 2-night stay, wine tour, free meals, $250 gift card. But really, because they own everything, the cost wasn't too bad. This allowed us to get basically 30,000 email signups in that first month and really start to push people to know about the brand and push them to the wine club. So again, this is one you can't always deploy, but was really helpful in the early days with the company. All right, so hopefully that's helpful. Some quick examples of companies and how they packaged up their offer to hit their goals. But one thing I like to do, I'm a big fan of build in public. I probably do this a little too much on LinkedIn. I'm going to show what we've tried with our agency Growth Hit and with our direct-to-consumer brand Neat. I'll show what we've done that's worked and not worked. So let's start with Growth Hit. With Growth Hit, we're testing free content and courses. If you go to our website right now, you're going to see lots of different ways we're trying to activate you. Like, hey, how to grow a brand, a 23-step checklist on what to do. The other thing that we've done is, hey, we'll do a free CRO audit for you. So this one has been good for building up the database and playing the long game to be hopefully thought leaders in the eyes of potential customers. The free CRO audit, we would do this when we would be doing cold email or trying to acquire new customers. And this one works really well. However, it costs us money to do this. So we have to be very selective with how we deploy it. But those are two things that we kind of have in our back pocket. Think of it like this is playing more of the long game for long-term customers. This is more trying to get people quickly in more of a short time frame if we want to hit different revenue goals. Okay, let's go to Neat now, the direct-to-consumer brand. We sell sweat-proof shirts. I'm going to show you the 4 different things that we're testing to activate. So one that we did is the no sweat guarantee. Like, hey, if you sweat through your shirt, if you show a pit stain or a back sweat, we'll give you your money back. This one hasn't worked that well. It's been interesting, but it's not like, oh, I'm buying the Neat shirt because of the sweat-proof guarantee. We started pushing more bundles with the no sweat closet upgrade, and that has actually worked quite well just to get our average order value up and to help us run ads. We also do these different incentives at the cart, like, hey, if you spend $85, you get free shipping. Spend $200, you get a free shirt. And the other thing we did is the free tea campaign, where we would give you a free shirt if you shared it on social. This one worked a little bit too well. We ended up, I think, giving out like 200 shirts. We had to turn it off real quick. But what's nice is just because we have inventory issues as a small brand, we know that this is a tool we have in our toolkit to deploy if we really want to accelerate customer acquisition. Again, you want to be controlled with who this gets in front of. So hopefully that's helpful to see different things, different offers we're trying with our agency Growth Hit, but also with our brand Neat apparel. Okay, nice. And so one thing I want to hit on is, as we talk about website audits and creating your roadmap to increase your conversions, I'll even show how you can do this yourself to kind of go through this. And what we could do on the next call is, I'm more than happy to kind of do a live audit of a company if anyone's game. Yeah, I see some people, they'd be down to submit. Okay, yeah, that's a good call. We could ask for permission on that one. Okay, so let me show you, if you're like, okay, Jim, I want to increase conversions. How can I do that myself? Here's how I'd be thinking about it. So this is an example of how we kind of audit a website to increase conversion rates. And here's the end goal that I'm going for. I'm trying to understand, hey, what are the conversion roadblocks we need to address? This is something I kind of hit on at the top. Like, there's no more than 7 reasons why people aren't converting. What's blocking those conversions? Because once I know those things, it's game on and I can design against those. The other thing that I'm trying to understand with your issues on conversion rate is like, hey, where's the traffic coming from and where is it landing, right? Where are the pages where we have the biggest potential for increasing sales and conversions? So with this example, this company, there's a pretty significant drop off from collections to product pages. And so for me, there's some confusion in middle of the funnel that I would want to be addressing. The other thing is understanding the context of the traffic. What's the quality of the traffic? Is it paid? Is it free? Is it mobile? Is it desktop? That way you really meet the customer where they're at and where they're having issues, right? So with this one, we actually saw that a lot of people were really interested in the product as they're looking at different art for what they offer, but they were kind of held up at the collections. They weren't even getting to the product page. And one big issue for that was looking at the experience on desktop versus mobile. While mobile had significantly more traffic, proportionally, it was really low from a conversion perspective. And so those are things I'm thinking through from a quantitative analysis. The next thing I'm doing is I'm going through a website. I'm kind of grading it on these 5 pillars. So whenever we're doing our assessment, you can kind of see how we scored out of 100 and the 5 pillars we look at, which is messaging, design aesthetics, user path navigation, usability, and how we activate people with your average order value and lifetime value optimization. And something to think about as you kind of put this lens on as you look at your website. Where are you strong and where are you weak on these kind of 5 core tenets? And then what I like to do is, with that in mind, we're just going page by page to understand, okay, is there confusion? Are we blocking conversions because there's a potential objection? Just line by line, taking those 5 core principles and applying it to each page. So you kind of see how this goes whenever we're doing a recommendation. That's a fun lens to look through. And then as you come up with all these ideas, maybe it's by high traffic page, like homepage or collection page, by desktop or mobile, or looking at each page, understanding, okay, what are the potential objections? Then we start to prioritize where you could have the biggest impact on increasing conversions based on the tactic that or technique you'd want to deploy. And just to kind of show an example, this is one client that they had some issues with their collection page on mobile. There's lots of confusion on what to do. And so once we knew, hey, we need to focus here, there's a lot of fatigue because people have to spend way too much time on this page, we're able to go in and be like, okay, let's make it much tighter. Let's make it easy to get into that buying experience, but also allow people to swipe in a very kind of natural mobile function to understand the different categories or products they'd want to get to. But hopefully this is helpful if you're trying to increase conversions yourself, different ways you could approach doing your own conversion audit. But again, thank you guys so much for joining today. This one, we went deep on conversions. The one before we did positioning. The next workshop we're going to be working on will be specific to traffic. And the goal there is, how do you find traffic in an ROI positive way to grow your company? So that'll be a fun one that we get into. But again, thank you guys so much for the time. Thanks for the comments. Look forward to doing this. It'll be in a couple weeks, but we'll send an email out. And feel free to send feedback. You can email me at jim@growthhit.com with any comments you have. So thank you all so much.